the world of professional tennis has just been hit by a financial earthquake that is measuring 10 on the Richter scale. While the elite players were busy preparing for the Sunshine Swing in California, a piece of news leaked from the headquarters of the world's biggest sports brand that has left the entire WTA in a state of absolute shock. Alexandra Eala, the 20-year-old sensation from the Philippines, has reportedly signed a historic endorsement contract, with Nike valued at a staggering $75 million. This isn't just a sponsorship deal, it is a global coronation. To put this into perspective, this figure rivals the legendary contracts of Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka, making Alex Eala one of the most valuable female athletes on the planet, before she has even won her first Grand Slam title. The reaction from the top of the rankings was immediate and unfiltered. Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 2, and a powerhouse of the game, reportedly went off after discovering the details of the deal. The tension in the locker rooms is palpable, as veteran champions who have spent years in the top 10 are struggling to comprehend how a 20-year-old ranked world number 31 has commanded such a massive premium. But for those following the Eala Effect, the reason is clear. Alex Eala is no longer just a tennis player, she is a gateway to the massive and loyal Asian market. Nike isn't just buying her forehand, they are buying the heart of a nation of 110 million people who treat her like royalty. As the news spread through the social media feeds of fans in Manila and New York, the numbers began to tell an even deeper story. Analysts are calling this the most aggressive move in the history of sports marketing. By securing Eala for $75 million, Nike has effectively crowned her as the next face of global tennis. While Sabalenka and other top-tier players continue to dominate on the court, Eala is dominating the culture. The gap between ranking points and marketability has never been wider, and the WTA is witnessing a new hierarchy, where a player's influence is measured not just by trophies, but by the sheer power of their global reach. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Amidst the chaos of the $75 million reveal, Alex Eala didn't celebrate by buying a fleet of supercars or a private jet. Instead, she stayed true to the PINOY values that have defined her journey from the very beginning. She used the first milestone of this massive success to reveal an emotional surprise that has moved the world to tears. She has officially secured a dream home for her parents, proving that no matter how many millions are on the table, she remains the same humble girl from the Philippines who plays for her family and her country. This is the moment history stood still, and the world realized that the Eala era is built on something much stronger than money. The news of the $75 million contract didn't just stay in the headlines, it traveled straight into the player lounges and locker rooms of the WTA. Aryna Sabalenka, known for her fierce competitiveness and candid personality, reportedly could not hide her astonishment. In an era where every dollar is earned through grueling matches and deep tournament, runs the idea of a player ranked outside the top 30 receiving a contract larger than many Grand Slam champions is a bitter pill to swallow for some. The tension is high because this deal challenges the traditional meritocracy of tennis. Sabalenka, who has dominated the world rankings and claimed multiple major titles, now finds herself in the shadow of a rising star whose financial clout has surpassed almost everyone on the tour. But the industry experts see it differently. They are calling this the great pivot in sports marketing. While Sabalenka represents the power of the present, Alex Eala represents the future of a globalized sport. The reason the WTA is in shock is because Nike has valued Eala's cultural impact higher than the current world number 2's on-court trophies. For Sabalenka and the other veterans, this feels like a snub, but for the brands it is a calculated gamble on the next decade. The debate is now raging across social media, with fans asking a difficult question: should endorsements be based on current rankings or future potential? This $75 million move has effectively ended that debate by proving that star power is the ultimate currency. In the United States, the reaction has been equally intense. The massive Filipino diaspora in cities like Los Angeles and New York has turned Alex Eala into a household name, making her more marketable in the West than many European players ranked much higher than her. This is why the brands are willing to pay such an astronomical premium. Every time Eala steps onto a court in California or Florida, she brings a stadium full of loyal supporters who buy every piece of gear she wears. Sabalenka might have the more powerful serve, but Eala has the more powerful connection to a global audience that is hungry for a new icon. The locker room tension is just a symptom of a world that is changing faster than the players can keep up with. As the tour moves toward the massive tournaments in Indian Wells, the eyes of every scout and every sponsor will be on Alex Eala. They want to see if she can back up the $75 million hype with more giant-killing performances. Sabalenka and Eala are now on a collision course not just for a trophy, but for the soul of the sport. One is fighting to maintain the old order while the other is unintentionally leading a revolution. The shockwaves from this deal have permanently altered the landscape of the WTA, ensuring that from this day forward the world of tennis will never look at a ranking sheet the same way again. The numbers on the scoreboard are important, but the numbers in the contract are what have truly changed the game. While the boardrooms of the sports world were buzzing with the $75 million figure, Alex Eala was focused on a much more personal victory. In the middle of the global media frenzy, she took to social media to reveal an emotional surprise that has touched the hearts of millions across the Philippines and beyond. She has officially secured a luxury dream home for her parents Mike and Riza Eala. This wasn't just a display of wealth, it was a deeply symbolic gesture of gratitude for the people who sacrificed everything to fund her early dreams. Long before the Nike millions were on the table, her family was her primary sponsor. They navigated the difficult path of international travel and academy fees when the government support was nowhere to be found. For Alex, this house isn't just a building, it is a thank you note written in brick and mortar. The story behind this surprise has added a layer of human depth to the Eala phenomenon that rankings alone cannot capture. Her mother Riza, a former Southeast Asian Games medalist herself and a successful corporate leader, understood the discipline required for elite sports. Her father Mike has been her steady rock throughout the highs and the lows. The internet went into a meltdown as photos of the tearful reunion and the house reveal began to circulate. While Sabalenka and the other top players are focused on the grind of the tour, Alex has reminded everyone that the ultimate goal of success is taking care of those who were there when you had nothing. This emotional groundedness is exactly why brands are falling over themselves to sign her. She isn't just a champion athlete, she is the ultimate daughter of the nation. In the Philippines, the news of the dream home has sparked a conversation about the power of family values in sports. Fans are calling it the greatest win of her career, even more significant than her victory over world number 3 Elina Rybakina. The contrast between the cold professional world of $75 million contracts and the warmth of a family home has created a narrative that is impossible to ignore. This is the secret sauce of the Eala brand. While other stars might get lost in the glamour of fame, Alex is using her platform to elevate her family name. Every dollar from that Nike deal is being used to build a legacy that goes far beyond the lines of a tennis court. As the world continues to debate the fairness of her massive sponsorship deal, the emotional surprise for her parents has silenced many of the critics. It is hard to be angry at a young woman who uses her first major fortune to honor her mother and father. This move has solidified her status as a global icon of character and loyalty. The WTA might be in shock over the money, but the fans are in love with the heart. As she prepares for the next leg of the tour, Alex Eala carries with her the knowledge that her family is finally secure, and that peace of mind is what makes her the most dangerous player on the court. She isn't just playing for trophies anymore, she is playing to prove that a grateful heart is the strongest weapon in the game. The financial scale of this reported $75 million deal has done more than just shock the locker room, it has officially rewritten the history of Asian sports marketing. For years, Naomi Osaka was the undisputed gold standard for tennis endorsements in Asia. She held the record for the highest off-court earnings and the most rapid rise to commercial stardom. But at just 20 years old, Alexandra Eala is now outpacing Osaka's trajectory in several key areas. While Osaka was a global icon, Eala is a cultural movement. Her ability to sell out stadiums in the Middle East and her massive social media engagement in the Philippines and the United States has convinced brands that she is a once-in-a-generation asset. Nike is not just looking for another champion, they are looking for a bridge to a new era of fans, and Eala is that bridge. What makes this transition so significant is the timing. As Naomi Osaka and other veteran stars navigate the later stages of their careers, the market has been searching for a fresh face to lead the next generation. Eala has stepped into that vacuum with a level of poise that is rare for someone her age. The industry experts point to her training at the Rafa Nadal Academy as a major factor in her high valuation. She carries the endorsement of the greatest fighter in tennis history, and that prestige is reflected in her contract numbers. By securing a deal of this magnitude, Eala has proved that the commercial power of Asian athletes is no longer limited to those who have already won multiple Grand Slams. The potential is now just as valuable as the trophies. In the United States, the Eala Effect is being compared to the rise of Coco Gauff. Both players became stars at a young age, and both have managed to transcend their sport to become icons of culture and fashion. However, Eala brings an added dimension of international loyalty that few players can match. Her fans don't just watch her matches, they invest in her journey. This deep emotional connection is what justifies the $75 million investment. Nike knows that every time Eala wears a new kit or a pair of shoes, millions of people across 2 continents will be looking to follow her lead. The records of the past are being shattered because the audience of the future is more connected and more engaged than ever before. As the news of her financial milestone continues to ripple through the tour, it is clear that the hierarchy of women's tennis is being redefined. It is no longer enough to just have a big serve or a great backhand. You need to have a story that resonates with the world. Alex Eala has that story. From the humble courts of Manila to the elite stadiums of the WTA, she has maintained a level of authenticity that money cannot buy. Sabalenka and the other top players may continue to lead the rankings for now, but in the world of global influence, the 20-year-old from the Philippines is already sitting on the throne. The era of the $75 million superstar is here, and the record books will never be the same. The $75 million Nike deal and the emotional reveal of a dream home for her parents have marked a turning point in the history of the WTA. We are no longer just watching the rise of a tennis player, we are watching the birth of a global icon who carries the hopes of an entire continent. Alexandra Eala has proved that you don't need to fit the traditional mold to become the biggest story in sports. By staying loyal to her coach and her family values, she has built a foundation that is far more valuable than any sponsorship contract. As she enters the stadium for her next match at Indian Wells, she does so as the newly crowned world number 31 and the most talked about athlete in Asian history. The reaction from players like Sabalenka and the shock within the WTA are simply reflections of how much the game is changing. Tennis is becoming more diverse, more global, and more connected to the fans than ever before. Eala is the personification of this change. She is the bridge between the grit of the Rafa Nadal Academy and the massive market power of the Philippines. For every young girl holding a racket in Manila or Cebu, Alex Eala is the living proof that the biggest stages in the world are within reach. The money and the fame are just the byproducts of a journey that was fueled by hard work and a refusal to give up on the dream. As we look toward the rest of the 2026 season, the expectations have never been higher. With direct entry into the biggest tournaments and the eyes of the world watching her every move, the pressure is immense. But if we have learned anything from the way she saved match points against Rybakina, or how she handles her global fame, it is that Alex Eala thrives under pressure. She isn't running away from the spotlight, she is stepping right into the center of it. The $75 million question has been answered, and the answer is that the Eala era is here to stay, and it is going to be spectacular. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into the most historic moment of the year. If you are proud of Alex Eala and the way she is representing the Philippines on the world stage, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for all the latest updates on her journey. Don't forget to leave a comment below with your thoughts on her historic Nike deal and her incredible gift to her parents. We will be following every serve and every victory as the world number 31 continues to make history. Until next time, keep believing in the power of the Pinoy heart, and we will see you in the next video.